Hey, everybody. I wanted to come on this morning because I've been working on forgiveness. And I have come to know that forgiveness is not at all what I was taught it was. It's not about, me pardoning someone's bad behavior, um, or me letting someone else off the hook. Forgiveness now to me means doing the work to see the truth and the innocence in what happened and in the other person. And the way that I do that, I say that a lot on my shorts, but the first thing I do is if the situation is over, the first thing I do is go, wow, okay, the situation is over, but there is still contraction in the body. And there's still thoughts about it. And so it's really important to know that if the situation is over, the thing that's keeping the contraction alive is my perceptions. And if if my mind blames the other person and says, no, they're bad, I'm not bad, they're bad, then I can never get to the root of what's really going on. It's like their behavior might have been less than optimal in the moment, but it doesn't mean they're bad. You see, that's the whole big mistake. That's what I learned when I was little. If I did something bad, that means I was bad. And it turned from, kind of a healthy guilt about or remorse about doing something that was less than optimal to I'm bad. And then guilt shifted into shame. And I would say shame was my the modus operandi of my existence when in childhood. So if the situation is over and there's still contraction, it has to be what I'm perceiving. And so this morning, when I woke up, there was a lot of contraction. And I was thinking about a person who my mind said wronged me. And in the vein of my new perception, what's not new, but my shift in perception about what forgiveness is, I really had a desire to see her innocent. And the way that's done, and I talk about it on my channel quite a bit, is there's a remembering, okay, before I learned I was this body, before I learned, was given a name and told what to believe about myself and developed this whole mental definition of who I was. Before that happened, when I was an infant, there was no ability to think. When this life arose, there was not the capacity to make beliefs, to make stories. There wasn't even an ability to identify with this body, to say, this is me. That is a learned behavior. There's a video on YouTube with a little boy, he's about 2, and before he learned body recognition, and he was in a mall, and there was this big mirror in the mall, and he looked in the mirror, and then he ran around the back to see where that little boy was. And then he came back and he looked in the mirror, and then he ran around the back to find the little boy. That's what I'm talking about. That's prior to body identification. There's another story of a little girl who was in a preschool or a kindergarten class, something like that. And she was telling her mom who everybody was. This is so-and-so, this, and she got to her own picture and she said, but I don't know who that is. So we have to learn. I'm Donna Lou, I'm a girl, I'm 4 years old, and that comes with language. But before we learned language, what is language? I like to contemplate sometimes. If my thought system started speaking in a language I don't understand, what would this moment look like? I was like, oh, this is why dogs are such a good example. You know, uh, I'm a professional dog sitter by trade, and dogs, if I'm gone 30 seconds, if I'm gone 3 hours, if I'm gone 3 days, it's the same welcome because they're present, they're in the moment. They don't have that ability to make meaning. It's just like, oh, hi, I missed you. Oh, hi, I missed you. I mean, can you imagine if we had the ability to not see our mental image of someone when we looked at them, if we could see them fresh with fresh eyes every time, no past. That's true forgiveness, is letting go of all my perceptions and all those, the past and the future. Have you ever noticed that the only place the past lives is in here in the moment? But because of the way that we pay attention to it, we listen to that like we have on headphones for the soundtrack of our imagination. And then we forget to listen to the sound of the birds. This is why it's so important to learn to relax attention, because you can fact check. You can go, oh, I'm in a world that doesn't exist called the past. And my body is responding to whatever world that I'm focusing on. So it's a matter of, it's really a matter of the lens of attention. And I'm about to do like introductory 4 or 5 introductory videos on my channel so that you can really start to grok the nuts and bolts of what I'm talking about. And I'm also going to do a free workshop, I think June 28th. So mark that down. I'll tell you how to get in touch. So forgiveness is really letting go of that mental world. And we say, well, how will I protect myself? And I guarantee if we start learning to be vulnerable and out of our heads into our bodies are such sensitive machines that they will inform us, like not here being afraid, but physically. Uh, huh. I remember one time I was swimming in Florida, and I was swimming, and all of a sudden there was like, ooh, something felt really weird. And I didn't have the discernment between fear caused by mental and fear, natural, instinctual fear. I didn't have that distinction yet. And they're two different things. One's emotional and one's physical. So what I'm talking about is lifting off of the emotional fear. And then we're in tune to physical fear. So that was actually physical fear, but I said, oh, no. My mind is just playing with me. And then I come up for a moment because I heard a voice, and people on the shore are going, shark, shark, shark. And boy, I just went, and swam back into the beach. And so that mechanism, that instinctual fear will not only be there, it'll be the only thing that's there, the only thing on board. And then when there's an actual emergency rather than a potential, because when you look, Our brains, they're just in potential. Oh, something could happen. And that's based on the past. And so our minds go past, future, past, future. This was painful. This is going to be painful. This is painful. This is going to be, and they skip. They skip over the most important part, which is here, now, where true safety is. So forgiveness is seeing that the mind is generating a false world and made real by the way I'm paying attention to it, like this. And if I'm paying attention to it like this, how much of the present moment can I see? Have you ever noticed when there's suffering, the body's like this, and you have to look down like this? Because in order to keep this seeming real, I have to focus on it in a certain way. But the moment, sit the body up and really look, and that causes the attention to go. Just try it right now. Just look up, away from the computer screen, away from this image. See what's here. And you see, that lens that you're looking out of has to come off of the thinking mind, off of the computer screen. And now you see the whole thing, whole moment, everything there is to see. And you see, this body is part of it. Hang there for a moment. And then do the same thing with the way you're listening. You've probably been narrowly focused on the sound of my voice and maybe the sound of thoughts, your own thoughts, the voices. But just ask yourself, what else is here in this moment? What other sounds? And see the way that you're listening has to go. And you listen to the whole soundscape of this moment. That's the product of relaxing attention. Now, when we learn to relax attention and say, what else is here besides the images in my head, which, if there's been trauma, the movie seems so real, and the movie seems like a horror movie because you're dragging your past into your potential future. Bad things happen, so bad things are going to continue to happen, and I have to control it, and I have to be safe. And we skip over the present moment where you can actually see, where I can actually see. Wait a minute. There's safety. The body is safe. It's all over. Look, 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 look. It's evidence. And so there's no need for the thinking mind to try to create solutions for safety in a future that doesn't exist when it's already here. You see? Now, when we relax attention, the byproduct is those thoughts slow down. Now we can examine them. Oh, and more than examine them, question them. So, the thought about this person, it came down to, I was like, what's the root? What's the root belief? And it's, I don't matter. My needs don't matter. I'm invisible. And that is how I felt in childhood. 6 kids, 9 years apart, chaos. Dad was very, very cruel to me and my brother. Suffered CPTSD. Didn't know that at the time. But you see, here's the deal, separating person from behavior. That's how we find someone's innocence. To recognize, wait a minute. And this, I didn't come in to this world believing anything. I came in as a blank slate, open. And I had to learn everything. You see, I had to learn that thought, I'm a piece of crap. I had to learn I'm unworthy. I had to learn I'm invisible. Why am I invisible? Because I don't matter. I shouldn't be here. I mean, these are fundamental beliefs. And then I take those on as a belief system, confuse myself for those beliefs. And when I confuse myself for them, if I believe the movie in my head is real, and I collapse into that, where that seems more real than the present moment, then I have no ability to question, and therefore no ability to forgive, no ability to see my own innocence or anyone else's. Voila. So now I say, I hit the belief, I found it. And then I say, come, whatever feelings are there, because all beliefs are thought linked to a contracted sensation. We'll do more videos about that so you can see that. But here it comes. And wow, first of all, there was a willingness. I want to feel what's buried. I want it to come up and out. I want to be free in the safety of the moment because it's safe. Yeah, I look up, I fact check, nothing threatening here. These feelings can come out. It's over. The emergency is over. The trauma is over. It's over. It's over. And now that terrified part that has been lodged in and watching this horror movie can be in the real movie of now. And I can say, here, honey, you have all the space in the world. Let that, whatever it is, shame, guilt, let it come up into the moment and lose this container. Like it has the whole moment to be released into, the whole moment of safety. Was never. And when the feeling starts to unwind, when the feeling starts to be released into the whole moment, here, life, you take this part of me. When the feeling unhooks from the belief, then it's just a thought. It was never true. Holy. It was a mistake I made as a child to make sense of what was happening. That's forgiveness. And the moment I saw that this morning, I am able to see the innocence of that person. That's all her beliefs that are just driving that behavior. And they're not true. They're not true. We're all walking around as wounded children with no coping mechanisms, trying to cope in adult bodies. So we have to let the children go, the frightened, terrified children. Let the energy go and be here and be now, where we can be soothed. Our bodies can be soothed and be free of these emotional bindings that are not true anymore. That's it for today. Thanks for listening, and thanks for doing it with me.